Welcome back to HKIBC News. At least 3 people were killed in Sudan following the latest round of clashes between protesters and security forces. Prime Minister Abdallah Hamdok has resigned amid the unrest, leaving the country's fate in the hands of the military. Volleys of tear gas shrouded the Sudanese capital of Khartoum as security forces clashed with protesters who denounced the military for seizing power. Chanting the revolution of the people, thousands marched across the country, scarred by decades of authoritarian rule under Omar al-Bashir and now political turmoil. The path to democracy went off track in October after the army deposed Prime Minister Abdallah Hamdok and dissolved the Joint Governing Sovereignty Council. The coup brought back painful memories of the Sudanese people, who are still fighting for full civilian rule since breaking free from British and Egyptian control 66 years ago.
We are here to send a message to the whole international community, our young protesters on the street, in order to realize a civil system that is completely no room for the military people in this system, and they are going to realize their objectives sooner or later.
The mass protests raged as Hamdok stepped down as the leader of the transitional government. In a televised speech, the veteran politician said he decided to hand over the task of democratic transition to the daughters or sons of Sudan. "I tried my best to keep our country from descending into a catastrophe," he said. And now it is going through a dangerous turning point that may threaten its entire survival. But Hamdok hailed the protesters' effort in pursuing freedom and justice, as well as their revolutionary enthusiasm. The 66-year-old was only released from house arrest in November after reaching a deal to share power with the coup leader, Army General Abdel Fattah el-Burhan. Now, Hamdok's resignation has left the army in sole charge of Sudan's fate. Al-Burhan has defended the latest coup, but insisted that civilian rule is still on the table, pointing to elections scheduled for July next year. The Australian state of New South Wales added nearly 20,800 COVID cases in the past 24 hours. Prime Minister Scott Morrison pressed ahead with reopening plans, despite health officials voicing concerns over a lack of capacity at hospitals to deal with a surge.
It's important that with the rising case numbers we see, that the severeness of this illness is already being shown to be around 75% less than what we saw with Delta. So rising case numbers is part of the Omicron variant. It's part of the new phase of the pandemic we're in.
First 3 days of this new year, we've had more cases already than all of 2020. We are, of course, seeing at this point a lower rate of hospitalisation from Omicron cases, but it's still very early days. And we are seeing our hospitalisation numbers start to increase.
Over in the United States, new cases soared by 489,000, with hospital admissions also on the rise. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin is in self-isolation after testing positive for COVID with mild symptoms. Elsewhere in the world, India has begun vaccinating teenagers, while Israel has officially rolled out a 4th dose to those over 60 and medical workers. There are signs that a Delta outbreak on mainland China is easing. New local cases dropped to 101 yesterday, down 30 from Saturday. Hotspot Shanxi province recorded 92 infections, 90 of which were in Xi'an, including several children. This is the first time in 8 days that local transmissions fell below 100 in the provincial capital. Xi'an registered over 1,660 cases since the Delta outbreak began last month. 13 million residents have been locked down for 12 days, with the prospect of Lunar New Year travel dwindling. Authorities in the coastal province of Zhejiang are also on full alert after Ningbo City added 7 patients. Trading of China Evergrande shares was suspended in Hong Kong today as the mainland developer ran into further trouble. A statement filed to the stock exchange did not provide a reason for the trading halt. The suspension followed a media report that the developer was ordered to demolish 39 residential blocks in Hainan province after their building permits were obtained illegally. The cash-strapped developer has piled up more than $300 billion of debt and is struggling to repay creditors and suppliers. Now let's take a look at the markets. The Hang Seng Index closed down almost 123 points. Top 10 active stocks, Sense Time up $2.25, Tencent down $3, Alibaba down $3.90, Trakfin down 12 cents, Meituan down $2, Wuxi Biologics down $5.35, Shenzhou International down $11.70. Floors trading against Hong Kong dollar, Euro is trading at 8.85, British pound at 10.53. Canadian dollar at 6.14 and Australian dollar at 5.64. Over to the UK market, FTSE 100 is down 18 points. Hong Kong's retail sales have improved for the 10th consecutive month, going up by 7.1% in November. But the industry body feared that the looming Omicron outbreak will dampen sales ahead of Lunar New Year. Isaac Lee has more.
2021 has been a year of recovery for the retail industry, and November was no different. Sales that month went up by 7.1% year-on-year. While it was the 10th consecutive month of increase, the increment was down from 12.1% in October. With more people eating out again, sales of fresh and frozen meats dropped by 15% year-on-year. Similarly, supermarket revenue was down by 3%. The improving economy meant people returned to luxury retailers, with sales of jewelry and watches jumping by 14%. For the first 11 months, sales have risen by 8.3% compared to the same period last year. But supermarkets were among the few losers, earning almost 9% less. Department stores also registered a slight reduction in revenue. Citing a potential Omicron outbreak, the industry association was cautious about Lunar New Year performance, a traditional peak season.
If the outbreak, if it is going to affect the traffic of consumers, of course the sales of supermarket and all those food-related categories will have a reason to rise. But the situation we have to observe is still unknown to everybody.
They added that the industry has been pleading for another round of consumption vouchers, but admitted authorities were not warm to the idea. Isaac Lee, HKIBC.
On to the weather now. Tomorrow will be mainly fine before turning cloudy. Temperatures range between 17 and 21 degrees. It will stay cloudy for Wednesday and Thursday with 1 or 2 rain patches. Now let's take a look at the weather around the world. That's our main news for this Monday night. We'll come back at 11 with more updates. I'm Sarah Wong. Thanks for joining us and take care.